Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is Red Beard. It's a damn fine day to talk about a book. We are here for the February 2024 monthly wrap up. And to be honest with you, I questioned whether I wanted to shoot this or not. I used to always do monthly wrap ups, but I didn't really read a lot. I mean, I read 5 books, and I don't know those 5 books really qualifies for a monthly wrap up. I mean, I guess it does. I mean, back in the day, I used to do, I guess, 8, 10, 12, something like that. So, but, this particular month was a situation where at the tail end of it, I was like halfway through an audio and halfway through something else. And so it just so happens that only 5 books in the 29 days of this February. So, but I want to come here briefly talk about them. Again, I also assume that if you're watching a video, it might be the first time you've ever seen me talk about a book. So when I talk about these 5 books, there will be, it will be brief versions of my reviews. I don't even want to say that. I just say a couple, lines about them, but it will be repetitive of what you've already heard if you watch all my reviews. But I like to do this so at the end of the year I can come back and pick my favorite books of the year. So, and again, for me, that's books that I read in that current year. They do not have to be released that year because I don't think that any of these were. So, let's get into it. 5 books. Keep it quick. All right, so Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones, my third read by Graham Jones. I really like The Only Good Indians. I did not like My Heart is a Chainsaw at all. This one's middle of the road for me, probably about 3 stars. I will say that, 40, 50 pages in, I would have told you that I wasn't going to really like it. The plot kind of flips a bit, even though it tells you in the synopsis, but the plot kind of flips, and because of that, I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected to. It's really comedic horror, and I don't know that I went into it expecting that. I mean, mannequins are creepy. Night of the Mannequins, I think I expected this to be a real horror fest, which it is, but I don't think I expected the comedy. So when I kind of readjusted the way I was thinking about it, I liked it a lot more than I expected to. But Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones, 3-ish stars. Hyde by Kirsten White. This I should have loved this. It is you know kind of like a reality TV show, kind of where 14 people go out into this abandoned theme park and play like a real life game of hide and seek, and 2 are eliminated every day, and I'm not going to go into the nature of the elimination, but it's a horror book. You can kind of probably imagine that it's a bit more, I guess, dark than just, here's your, consolation prize and you get to go home now. But anyway, I should have liked it a lot more based off that, based off the premise. But ultimately, this is Kirsten White, to my understanding, kind of specializes in young adult juvenile fiction. This was her first shot at like a adult novel, and for me, it was repetitive, and I just didn't love it as much as I thought that I would. That said, I still liked it. I'm 3 stars for Hyde by Kirsten White. I did Festival by Christopher Golden and Tim Levin. I bought this on a whim on eBay. Had no plans to read it, but when I got it and saw what it was, I got into it pretty quickly. It's short. It does have art in it, but it's prose, and it's from Dark Horse, which my experience, Dark Horse makes comic books. This I thought might have been a graphic novel by Levin, who I really like, Golden, who I've heard a lot about. I haven't read a lot of Christopher Golden. But anyway, this is Viking horror at a music festival. Music festival is being hosted on this old Viking, we'll just call it a battleground, not to get into too many details. And those Vikings are called back, and there is a lot of bloodshed and massacre in this one. Brutal death scenes. But yeah, I enjoyed this, and I'm a bit repetitive here, but I'm probably at 3 stars on this one as well. I did The Impossible Fortress by Jason Rekulak. This is my second Rekulak read, having done Hidden Pictures a little bit earlier in the year. I really dug Hidden Pictures, probably 4, maybe a little bit better than 4 stars. This one, a little bit less. It was his first novel. Still enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it more than 3 stars. So let's call it 3.5. But definitely prefer Hidden Pictures to this one. Hidden Pictures is definitely firmly horror. This one's not. It's more of a coming of age, teenage angsty kind of thing. There's a funny scene in here though where like it's 1980s too, so there's a lot of nostalgia there. A lot to do with 8-bit computer gaming and things like that. But there's also a scene where they're trying to get their hands on the brand new Vanna White Playboy that kind of plays out throughout the book, and that's it's kind of funny. But anyway, dug it. 3.5 probably. And then I read Sundial by Catriona Ward, my second read by Ward, having done The Last House on Needless Street. Now, I like that book, but there are things about it, things about the ending, things about the wrap up, things about the explanation that I often come here and harp on. And I kind of feel bad about that. I mean, I mean them and they're true to me, but like it's one of those books that it's not like I wish I hadn't read it. I mean, I wanted to read that book. I'm glad I read that book. I felt like it was one of those situations where the twist kind of like felt like I'd been tricked. Like, kind of felt like, oh, that's not fair. You can't explain something that way. That's how I felt about that book. I like this one a lot more. And it's also very twisty. And the twist in here worked for me. I really dug them. This is a book about mother-daughter relationships, sister relationships. It's heavy on female characters. It's also got serial killer and kind of nature versus nurture as far as that goes. Can someone's capacity to kill be passed down to another generation? There's just a lot with this book, and I really liked it. And I think I called it 4 stars when I reviewed it, but this is another one of those ones where hindsight, you just keep thinking about it. Like that's how I like to look back on these things. Okay, I read 60 books this year. I read 100 books this year. Whatever I read, how many of those am I still thinking about? How many of those still do I read something else in another book and I'm like, and kind of go back to it in my mind? This will be one of those, I feel. Sundial by Catriona Ward, 4 to 4.5 stars. And that is it. I read 5 books in February 2024. I'm really just getting back into it, but I'm loving it. I hope you're loving it. Appreciate you being here. Comment, like, subscribe, but whatever you can do, I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying all your books, all of them as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.